Hello, I'm Craig Dale, Chief Executive of the UK and Ireland SAP Use Group, or UKISUG as we're known. And I'm delighted to be joined by Lauren Barratt, UK and Ireland Customer Insights Lead at SAP. So great to be here with you, Lauren.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the riveting subject of surveys. Now, all joking aside, customer insights are of vital importance to organisations, and from our perspective at the user group, member insights. It's so important that, we get to deliver what you need, and SAP gets to deliver what you need. So they are very important, and before you turn off, let me assure you, we're not going to be selling Qualtrics or any other survey platforms. It is purely about customer insights and why they're important to us as a user group and SAP as an organisation. And a barometer that is used throughout the world is Net Promoter Score, or NPS as it's known. And we wanted to share a little bit of insight into what NPS is and how it works, and that's really why we're having this conversation today, Lauren.
Absolutely.
So I suppose to start, what's NPS?
So, as you rightly said, NPS is a widely used customer loyalty and satisfaction measurement based on asking how likely customers are to recommend a product or a company and really get a gauge of what their sentiment is.
So why is it helpful for companies to collect NPS feedback?
Yeah, so at SAP, we ask our customers to provide feedback across the likes of experience, their solutions, support, account teams, and any feedback or scores or comments collected from this really help the business to drive improvements in some of those focus areas. So we get a better understanding of our customers' sentiment and experience across each of those, drive an action plan in each of those areas, and develop a more trusted, stronger working relationship.
So it's kind of understanding, I suppose, where you're doing well and where you need to improve from a customer perspective.
Exactly.
And we do that, I suppose, from a user group perspective. We do it after every event. And we also do it in our annual member survey, just to understand really is, are we doing what we need to do, and are we serving our members as best we can? So
exactly.
When and how does SAP measure NPS?
Yeah, so throughout the course of the year, each one of our individual customer contacts will be surveyed and have the opportunity to provide their response and comments and feedback. So this used to be done on a quarterly basis, but as of 2023, we are now releasing and sending out the NPS survey just twice. So our customer contacts will have the opportunity to respond and provide their feedback either in May or June, or in October.
Okay, and how does SAP, I suppose, ask the customer and then measure the NPS? What kind of questions does it come out of?
Of course, yeah. So there are a whole host of questions, as I mentioned, from customer support to kind of engagement or account team, or renewal incentives. But really, from an NPS collection result perspective, the key question that we would like our customers to answer is how likely are you to recommend SAP to a business peer? And this is scored on a scale from 1 to 10, 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. And that's it, really. I mean, of course, all comments and feedback is highly valuable, and they are acknowledged and fed back into the business. But the key question is, how likely are you to recommend SAP?
Okay, so you've got from 10 being highly likely and 1 being not on your Nelly, I suppose.
Exactly.
And I can imagine scores can vary widely across the globe, if you like, and different cultures and different responses from customers, because 7 is good, right?
Well, exactly. So culturally, I think in the UK and Ireland, we would say actually anywhere between 6, 7, 8 is pretty good, as you said. But really what we would love to try and encourage is our customers to either score us as a promoter, which would be that 9 and 10, or as a detractor, which is anything below 6. And that will really help us understand what we're doing well so we can replicate those behaviours and identify areas that perhaps need a little bit more improvement, and really drive action around that space.
So actually then I suppose 6 or below is bad, 7 or 8 is okay, and 9 or 10 is really good.
Exactly.
So, okay, that's, and I think getting 9 out of 10 in the UK and Ireland is probably pretty outstanding, actually. But okay, I can understand that. And we as I mentioned, we ask these questions after every event in our member survey on, would our members recommend a user group? And what we've found actually is one of the things we do is we contact everybody who is classed as a detractor.
Yeah.
So we've spoken to many members who've scored 6 or below, and, especially in that region of 5 and 6. When you speak to a member and we ask that question, it's like, oh no, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. We thought that was a good score, and that's the thing. But there was a kind of surprise that we actually called them to ask, okay, how can we improve? So that's very interesting, and so we do that. And what do SAP do with the results of the insights?
Yeah. So just to touch on the kind of cultural element, I suppose, of the scoring. The way in which the NPS survey is calculated, as it were, is the number or the percentage of promoters, so those scoring 9s and 10s, subtract the percentage of detractors. So that 7 and 8 is really where we're looking at the comments, absolutely. So from an NPS perspective at SAP, once the results are captured and reported, they are analysed, industry trends are identified, both globally and locally. And these trends are fed back into the UK, and from there, the customer insights team will be able to put forward their recommendations for different initiatives to help improve based on the trends that we've seen from our customer analysis. In addition to that, we also, similarly to yourselves, look at those customer responses that have given us a passive or a detractor score. So really anything below an 8. Any of those customers will automatically have a ticket generated in our Qualtrics platform. And from there, our account teams, be it the account exec or the customer success partner, can follow up directly and collaborate with the customer to make sure they're addressing some of those issues. So closing that loop is really important to SAP, and making sure that we are putting our customer first and really listening to their feedback. I'll gladly share an example if that would be helpful.
Yes, please.
So just to make it a little bit more tangible, a real life example, one of our customers in 2021 scored us a detractor score, and they were specifically dissatisfied with the leadership changes and alignment to their customer sort of base, and then the lack of visibility of a long-term product strategy. So to overcome some of these challenges, the account team saw the Qualtrics ticket, and the customer success partner worked directly with the account team, the customer team, to really build on some of the comments, look at some of the concerns that were raised, and create clearly defined action plans within the outcome success plan to overcome some of the challenges. So firstly, a top-to-top governance model was put in place and reinstated, along with a relationship assessment to make sure that there was that leadership alignment both with SAP and the customer as well. And then secondly, there was an open dialogue on that product roadmap and product strategy. And benchmarking was revisited from the customer side and the SAP side, and the customers was directed to different sources of enablement. So they could look at learnings on SAP for me, and have the ability to look at some of the long-term sort of product roadmaps that were out there and available. And I'm delighted to say that the customers' NPS did improve in 2022. So hopefully that's a really good example of how we are collaborating closely and driving action. We do things with the responses we get.
Oh, fantastic! And what is good to see from my perspective and our community perspective is that SAP's talked for the last number of years about putting the customer at the centre,
yes,
and putting the customer first, and I think driving that customer success is key. It's nice to see that being put into action. So that's fantastic, and from our perspective, people are at the centre of everything we do in our community, and back to that NPS element, we set targets for our internal team and our NPS results based on the events that we put on for our members, and also based on our annual member survey. And I feel it's very important, because it should be important to every single one of our members and every single one of your customers.
Definitely.
So we've worked with you and your team in prompting our members to complete their insight survey from SAP. So, are you able to share a little of how our members are scoring SAP?
Absolutely. And, across all of the responses that we get, we absolutely look at that kind of user group membership and what that looks like, because it is such a valuable community to us. So in 2022, 25% of the user group responses we received scored us a 9 or 10, which is promoter, which is fantastic.
Good.
And I believe it was 46% scored us that 7 or 8. So that would be classed as a passive score. And that's really the target respondent we're trying to encourage to either give us a 6. If you're on the fence, give us a 6 or below. Tell us what we can really focus on in the future to improve your experience. Or equally, if it's a 7 or 8 and you're saying, yep, everything's good, we're happy, everything's fine, then tell us perhaps a little bit more about what's going well, and let us replicate those behaviours.
Thank you. So what else can our members do?
Well, absolutely keep an eye out for the personalised link that they'll receive. So I know I'm working closely with the user group marketing team to drive information about the release dates and upcoming events and the score system as well. But most importantly, be honest. Any kind of feedback or commentary that we receive is just hugely valuable. It really helps us make those incremental changes and drive an improved experience for our customers. And as you said, it's all about putting them at the centre of SAP, really, and having that customer-centric view across the different focus areas we have.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren, for shining a light on that for us, on customer insights and how NPS works. And surveys can seem very mundane, but they are very important. They're certainly important to us as a user group within our user community. They're important, as Lauren said, to SAP in understanding what works and what doesn't work. If we don't know what's not working or what's working well, we may fix the wrong things. So please, as Lauren said, keep an eye out for those emails in your inboxes. Please do complete our insights and our surveys, and we'd really like to hear your thoughts and views, as we do look at everything that you say in our surveys. So thank you for listening. I hope you stuck with us, and if you'd like to get more involved in the UKISUG community, please visit our website at sapusers.org and keep an eye on your inbox for those surveys. So thank you very much, and the survey will be in your inbox soon.